deck, of course.
Yep.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Toby, and thank you very much for arranging the session today. Really excited to be talking about two programs today. My name is Simon Easton. I'm from the BPP University. I'm a strategic client partner. I'm part of a team of 4 others. It was 1, then it was 2, and then 3, and now here we are with 4. We're growing all the time and working with NHS trusts across England, so we're really excited about that. The point of today's call is it's National Apprentice Week, where we're all showing our love for apprenticeships, but also really excited to be giving you an opportunity to have a look at a couple of our programs today. Bachelor of Science Data Scientist, Level 6, and the MSc in Applied Data Analytics, which is a Level 7, of course. There you go. Just ad hoc modifications to my slides as we go. So, yeah, I want to talk to you about those. I also want to talk to you, give you an overview of who BPP are, because obviously that's just to give you a steer on who we are, a little bit of information about apprenticeships from what they are, because some people have different perceptions and they've evolved over time considerably, and I really want to make sure that you know what's what on that front and so you know what to expect. I'm then going to talk about the two programs. I've missed off Level 7 again. Look at me, not typing very well today. I've got to tell you about the two programs. Then I'm going to talk to you about the program delivery. But before I get to the two programs, I'm actually going to talk about the what we call a data explosion, but I'll come to that in a second. So let me get, without any further ado, who are we? We want to be called your strategic talent partner. We offer, as you can see on the ring on the right, a raft of different programs within a whole load of different domain areas. We've been in operation over 45 years now, and since 2007 we've been a fully accredited university with degree awarding powers. So that means, for example, as you'll see in the data space, we can offer programs from Level 3, which is sort of A level, all the way up to master's level 7, our MSc in Applied Data Analytics, because we have the degree awarding powers. Okay, 25,000 professionals trust us, 90% of FTSE 100, 6 of the 10 leading global banks, 7,000 businesses across multiple industries, including, of course, the NHS and the health and care sector. We started predominantly in the beginning, we started with accountancy and tax, but then we've gradually filled the circle with more and exciting programs. Nursing is really exciting, obviously, and really important. We offer loads of nursing apprenticeships. And over on the right, data and technology is really taking off in terms of the NHS's recognition of the value of data, the insights you can gain from it, and the decision-making capabilities it provides you with if you know what to do with it. We have actually taken a lot of that and dropped it into some of our other programs as well, because we realized, for example, you can't be an effective accountant unless you can use spreadsheets in sort of some capabilities. So we provide you analysis skills in those as well. Our client list includes this range of employers you can see here, and it is growing all the time, as I've already said. And you'll probably recognise an awful lot of those organisations yourself, and the global organisations that we offer to over 100 countries. Down here on the bottom, NHS, you might be familiar with that one. And we now work with over 130 NHS trusts, including your own. Your logo will no doubt be there somewhere. Yes, there it is. And so we work with 130 plus, probably nearer 150 trusts now, plus a raft of health and care and primary care providers as well. And we've been working with the NHS Leadership Academy to offer you apprenticeships with their Edward Jenner and Mary Seacole leadership programs, should you want to. So that's a great partnership that we're really excited about. So what is an apprenticeship? Now, in the old days, of course, we all knew what it was. It was, you decide you wanted to be a plumber or an electrician many years ago, and you'd go out with them on the job and you'd learn as you went. And that's not dissimilar now, in that you are on the job development across a range of different subject areas. I've shown you a range of different levels, really much more professional focused now. We're offering, yes, we offer the nursing ones, but on the non-clinical side, we offer apprenticeships, as you saw in the circle, leadership and management, accounting and tax, data and technology, project management, a huge role of different areas which are really taking off in the NHS as people recognise it's better to have an apprenticeship an apprentice than it is to potentially recruit a new member of staff. So really exciting. And they're not, just to let you know, they're not just for school leavers. They're for anyone at any stage in their career who wants to further their and enhance their skills and their capabilities. So really no age barrier in that sense. Employers obviously huge amount of benefit. They can upskill people in their team. And I was talking to line managers multiple times. They're often saying, why would I recruit a new member to the team when I can promote and enhance the skills of the people inside the team that I know so well and do a great job? So there is that aspect of it. However, your employer can also use apprenticeships to recruit new talent, and they can be used as part of the workforce planning. And the NHS People Plan has come out now, so really looking at that in terms of retention, how to hang on to high quality people, developing their skills and enhancing their careers. Which brings me to the final box, the yellow one at the bottom of your screen. I think it's yellow anyway. You are on the programs I'm going to talk about today, and any apprenticeship really, going to develop really exciting skills through on-the-job training. And I think apprenticeships are really a better way to learn for so many people, because instead of going to university, for example, incurring a lot of student debt and learning something which may or may not be relevant as you go through, as you graduate, the whole philosophy of an apprenticeship is you learn on the job and you put into practice the skills and behaviors that you're learning while you're on the apprenticeship. So really exciting, get a recognised qualification, and as I referenced there, no student debt as a learner. Learners are not allowed to pay. It comes out of the levy for Somerset. So you have your trust has paid into a levy pot, and that is ring fence for apprenticeships, and so that's been utilised for that. So you are not allowed to be spending anything. So I hope those are recognised. Some of those benefits are really valuable to you. How they structured is that we give you formal tutor-led training within the classroom. Everything we teach on our programs is online. So when I talk about classroom, I mean virtual classroom. You get taught the formal the data, the information about how to become a data scientist in the case of these two programs, and then you learn all about how to apply that in your role. So that's where the skills come in. You see there knowledge and skills, where you apply those skills, and it's just a brilliant way to learn in that you're applying and you're becoming that much more effective in your job role as you go, and you're applying skills which are making a real impact straight away as you go, and making you much more efficient, much more effective, and helping to really drive effective decision making in your trust. So really exciting. You're also coached, as it were, and I'll come to that in a minute, but you're also coached to understand the importance of becoming more professional. And you'll also absorb by the fact that you're doing new and exciting things, you will absorb professional traits, and your behavior will change as well. And people will spot the difference that you're that much more professional in your job role. So we teach you the knowledge, you develop the skills, and your behavior changes as well accordingly. So all very good stuff. And then at the end, you have what they call an endpoint assessment, where they assess the quality of your work during the previous period whilst you've been on the apprenticeship, and confirm that you've passed. Now, we will provide you with a coach who you meet every 6 weeks. So every 6 weeks you'll meet the coach, and they will steer you and make sure you're on track, so that when you get to the endpoint assessment, there's no horrible surprises and all your work is up to speed and ready to help you pass the endpoint assessment. Okay. You'll also be asked to create a portfolio of evidence, as they refer to it, which is essentially a portfolio that demonstrates all of your assignments, all your work, and all the projects you've been working on, all the applications you might have developed, anything you've done in relation to the apprenticeship, you've put into your portfolio, and that goes towards your endpoint assessment, which allows you to then say, this is the story of my development during the program. So when you have your endpoint assessment, the endpoint assessment organization will look at that and ask you questions. You'll have a discussion and an interview, and then they'll be delighted to give you a pass, I'm sure. So references, Data Explosion and BPP's Apprenticeships Roadmap. Now, we are now the biggest data and technology training provider in the UK by the fact that we bought a couple of companies. We've acquired STO and Firebrand. There's another one we've acquired as well, Digital Marketing Institute. We are acquiring organisations that fit our portfolio and really complement, so give us a much broader depth of development and training opportunities for our clients, such as yourselves. So you see there at the bottom, data analytics, which is what we're going to be talking about today, the two streams for that, but also you could learn about IT and cloud, software, cyber security. and we provide all of those programs online as well. So everything you learn is just going to be online. You also see down here on the right, there's a little blue logo, Data Assembly. They enable us to create bespoke programs for our clients. So if you need any programs tailored, there's an opportunity for us to add or modify the content to make it more applicable. And in fact, we've done that ourselves. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Why is it so critical and why are we growing all the time? Is because we are filling skills gaps that 2/3 of all companies across the UK have unfulfilled. They've got digital vacancies where they just can't fill. There's not enough skills out there at the moment. And this shortage of skills is costing the UK economy, as you can see on the screen, 12.8 billion a year. So really important that we help organisations to address that. And in the NHS, of course, it has an impact in terms of cost savings, cost efficiencies, operational efficiencies. There's a whole raft of areas where we can help you and support you there. Moving on, making this more relevant to you in the NHS, we've done a survey. We did a survey with the NHS England, as it now is, and back end of 22, early 2023, we did a survey, and 70% of the trusts we spoke to said they don't have enough skills in the digital or the data space. And there's a little bit more detail there you can see. So really is a great career enhancer for you if you're thinking of joining this program and take your skills to the next level. Really makes you more attractive in terms of keeping you on board and developing your skills, but also the value of the information and data that you're going to be able to analyze with these programs is going to really phenomenally impact Somerset and help you deliver a better service across your trust. And to that point, the value of data to the NHS is just crazy. There's so much data floating around in the NHS that people don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to analyze it. And if there's 70% of trusts don't have the skills they need, you can see there some of the benefits of really using effective data analysts and analytical tools and skills to dig into the data that you have in terms of improving decision making, making more cost savings across the trust, operational efficiencies, improved monitoring of data, and improving patient care at the end of the day, which is why we're all here. So we're really excited at the fact that the level of uptake of data programs within the NHS is going up every single month. It really is going through the roof, really. So that busy chart there, let me explain it to you. This shows you our full data and technology apprenticeship roadmap with our partner STO and Firebrand. Down the left, you see the specialisms. We're talking about data and analytics today, but we also offer software development, IT and infrastructure, and cyber security. And the various levels, level 3, 4, 6, and 7, as you can see, we're talking about the level 6, which is a Bachelor of Science, and the level 7, which is a Master's. But we've also, you'll notice this one has got 2 dots on it, so is this, and so is this. Those are developing programs they're developed in 2024. These are coming out. There's a level 5 data engineer, and there's also an AI specialist, which I think is going to really be important. I was reading a report recently about the power of artificial intelligence within the NHS, and I think it's really going to be a game changer for so many NHS trusts if they've got the skills to develop it, to take it on board. So that's the whole roadmap, and along the top you've got data foundations, which is Excel and Power BI sort of skills, or ClickView if you're Tableau if you need those. It's all about using the capabilities of Excel to the max, really, because we all pay 100% of the price, but 95% of us don't use half of what it can do. Data and analyst level 4, that's using programming Python and SQL. So that's where you become a specialist data analyst. Not just the data foundations is for anyone that uses Excel regularly. Data analyst 1 is very much for people in the data analyst role. And then we move to the data scientist and the applied technology degree, which really gives you the basics of the infrastructure, but gives you a chance to specialize in one of 4 areas you can see there. So once you've got the basic infrastructure, you then understand about data analytics, software engineering, IT consultant, or cyber and cloud specialisms you can move into. And this is just to give you a steer on the hierarchy, as it were. I think you've seen that on the previous chart. Data foundations is obviously for everyone. we call them data citizens. It's anyone that uses Excel and uses data on a regular basis can use data foundations. Data analyst is for anyone in the middle area where they're looking to dig into the data and make business insights and more effective decision making with the insights that data can provide. And then you've got the data scientist and the MSc applied data analytics there. This is for data professionals and for specialists, and the MSc is more for data specialists but also for leaders in the organization. So let me tell you, how am I doing for time? The level 6 special science data scientist degree apprenticeship. One thing I do want to give you is a bit of insight into the market. People always say, well, we've got an abundance of data, but if you have an abundance of data, it doesn't always equate to optimal usage. And that's where the data scientists can come in. And you can see here, these are in the last 12 years, 10 years, the ramping up of opportunities for data scientists in terms of career growth. Obviously, there was a bit of a lull during COVID, but it's going straight back up again now that's the impact of that has had less of an impact on our work models. So you can see there the data scientist hiring is just going through the roof. And any organization that has a vast amount of data like the NHS has an opportunity to become what they call a data-driven organization. And with effective data scientists on board, they're able to make much better decisions, much better. The data can provide all sorts of insights that they didn't have before. And they've got much more clarity around how the data can impact the business and the strategy and the way your trust is run, basically. And by that, you can then make improvements, you can make greater efficiencies, you can have cost savings, all the great benefits I mentioned earlier when I was talking about the benefits of effective data analysis within the NHS and within Somerset in particular today. And it enables you to predict change. Now, during COVID, there was a number of trusts I speak with. I can think of Chelsea and Westminster, I can think of Royal Cornwall, among others, multiple others, where they, during COVID, they created these predictive models that enable them to look at the current rate of change for the number of people they had with COVID in their area, and they're able to recognize when the peaks and troughs were coming, and they could make changes accordingly. A really fantastic modeling tool was created that enabled these trusts to say, okay, we're going to have to start. We've got a peak coming. We can see it's coming. We're going to have to start emptying beds. We're going to have to start, cancelling non-essential operations, maybe cancelling some leave, and also ordering resources like oxygen and PPE that we can see we're not going to have enough of. All of these changes, all these fantastic modifications to the behaviour of the trusts was put in place because they had a predictive model that enabled them to see what was coming. There's a wave coming towards the shore. We need to be ready for it. So predictive modeling is absolutely critical in any business, but for the NHS, it's it's a life-saving changes basically. And finally, innovation and optimization of business teams. Innovation enables you to make absolute maximum use of the data, whilst at the same time making absolute optimized use of the latest updates in data and technology. As I mentioned, artificial intelligence is one that I think is going to be a huge game changer. This skill set has grown, and I know this is a weird number, 7,400% in the last 10 years, okay? But organizations are struggling to recruit the number of data scientists they need, okay? So what they're doing is they're saying to us, we can't recruit people, why don't we take the fabulous people we've got and train them up, which is why you're here looking at this video of me, is to say, is this something that can take my career to the next level and I can fill skill gaps at Somerset as well? And if I was a line manager, I would definitely be looking at apprenticeships. I have often spoken to line managers where they say, for example, why would I, if I've got two people with the same qualification, I would take the one that learned it on an apprenticeship any day because of the learning model and the teaching, the way it cements your knowledge as you go through. And you don't learn about data analytics, for example, you become a data analyst. You become the subject area because of the way it's taught. Key program details, it's a degree apprenticeship, you're going to get the Bachelor of Science out of it. It's 30 months plus 6. It's 36 months duration program, and it's all taught online. Okay, the whole program is delivered online. Any device you can see our lectures on, and we advise you to go to all the live sessions. If you can't go to the live sessions, they are recorded. And if you have been to the live session, you can watch the recordings as often as you want on any device. So if you commute into work on a bus or a train, you can sit there and look at your iPhone and study material. You also have access to LinkedIn Learning as well, and your tutors will often say during a session, by the way, there's more information on that particular area on LinkedIn Learning. So throughout the duration of the program, you will have access to the whole of LinkedIn's extraordinary bank of training and additional resources as well. And as I mentioned, you'll see here coaching. You have 6 weeks. Every 6 weeks, you meet a coach, and they will help and guide you. And they are fully qualified coaches, as well as understanding the subject area really in detail. One thing I forgot to mention was all your tutors are fully qualified data scientists as well. They have done this in industry. They haven't just learned about it and they're now passing on the knowledge. They've actually experienced it. A lot of them have PhDs and MScs in data science, and they're able to pass on war stories. They understand exactly the implications of your decision making from an industry experience perspective. And then you see the words workplace development. That is where your workplace development is where you put into practice. We have a little and often teaching methodology where we give you 2-hour lectures every week, and then you put it into practice. You reflect, you see how it's applicable in your work environment, and you start to develop the tools and techniques for the following week. If there's any area you're stuck on, you can bring it up in the lecture the following week, so you don't have to wait for ages. There are some providers that prefer to offer day release where you might go for 3 or 4 days on a training class, on a training session. However, the research shows, I feel, and the research shows that after 2 or 3 days, you start to switch off and it's very difficult to start to absorb more material. Plus, you then don't have any more sessions for perhaps a month or two. So I think the way we deliver it every week is really powerful. You learn something, you put it into practice, and gradually your skills develop, and you can see it keeps you more motivated. But also, if you are stuck or you start to struggle, you see the tutor the following week, so it's not a problem. You also have access to forums as well, and you can put online questions to your tutor on there, and also your peers. You'll have group discussions and so on, and you can have forums where you can all put your heads together and solve solutions. On the right, you can see the entry requirements. You've got to be employed in a relevant role. You have to be. It's an apprenticeship which has a portfolio of evidence. You have to be able to demonstrate that you've been putting into practice the skills you've been taught on the program. So if you're unsure, by all means, send me your job description. And if you're unsure of your qualifications, the same, send us those and we can assess them for you and let you know if you're okay for the program. So you have to be in a relevant role, and you have to have GC Maths and English. And if you don't have that, we have something called functional skills, which I'll talk about later. And you need 104 UCAS points, which I think is a BCC A level, or you can have an equivalent qualification from elsewhere, and you can have a completion of a level 3 apprenticeship in a relevant discipline, or you can have a bachelor's degree in another topic. I had a call earlier today. Somebody was asking me, they had the GCSEs and they had a degree in another subject area. Was that sufficient? No, absolutely it is. Critical thing if they're in the right job role. Okay. It's all funded by the UK government apprenticeship levy. You're not allowed to pay a bean as a learner anyway. So who's it for? This is for people who want to use data to solve business problems. No surprise there at all. You build and implement solutions that drive growth and efficiencies and cover all the wonderful things that I showed you earlier when I was outlining all the NHS value in terms of what they can get out of data. You can see typical job titles there: data scientist, data architect, data engineer, AI scientist. That may not be your job title, but we take everyone on a case-by-case basis. That's just to give you an indication. You might have a different job title, but effectively you are a data scientist. So by all means, let's have a talk and conversation about it. You are going to learn the principles of data science and the practical skills that allow you to build data solutions and deliver value to your trust. And you can see there some of the amazing things you're going to be learning on program. Yes, Excel is still a part of this. It's part of Data Foundations Level 3, but it's such an amazing data analytics tool, and everyone has it on their desktop. 1 billion users worldwide, so why wouldn't we really make sure you can use that effectively? You also get taught Python, you get taught about SQL, about databases, about big data, and how that works. Everyone uses the cloud infrastructure now, so you've got to understand how you can pull data from multiple different sources, and also unstructured data. You know, it's not all structured in nice little tables in nice formats. You know better than I do, I'm sure. Data engineering is a hugely important area. Cleaning up the data, moving the data around, making it accessible, multiple different structures and so on. 80% of any data science project is the data engineering and the cleaning up the data. And then you're going to learn about the predictive modeling I talked about and the use of artificial intelligence. And I really think that's going to be exciting. We also have workshops, and I'll come to them later. So as AI evolves over the next 3 years, you will have workshops that enable you to understand how that's applicable within your job role and within the technology you have available. Okay. And you'll be able to independently manage data projects from start to finish. Project management is part of this program. You learn about project management, how to manage a project, a data science project, because you need to be able to evaluate it. You need to look at the impact assessment. You need to understand how it's where the value is and where you should be focusing and prioritizing your time. So how's it going to help? It's going to enable you to solve business problems with all of these new skills in the middle here. And the slides I'll show you shortly, you're going to be able to solve business problems and automate processes, really dig into the data to provide valuable insights for your organization. You'll also be good at storytelling as well. You'll be taught storytelling to make sure that you understand what it is you've got to tell people, make sure they understand it in terms of visualization tools and the format of your data results. And then how to implement data-driven solutions to deliver operational and commercial value. Within your organization, as I said earlier, the NHS has a huge cost optimization requirements and operational efficiencies. You can create brand new business processes that enable you to do that. And I think the program emphasizes the importance of delivering tangible outcomes. That is really means it's an apprenticeship. It's a practical based delivery of your learning skills. You're putting them into practice on a regular basis. So you're doing your impact assessments. You're seeing the difference your stories are telling people. You're seeing the impact your tools and modeling that you've created are having on the NHS and having on your team. Okay, let me have you can have a read of this. I will send you the slide deck. I'm going to send it into to Toby and he can distribute it, and you'll be in a position there where you can say, okay, I can have a big read of this and you can see all the skills you're going to learn. But essentially building robust, seamless, as you see at the bottom, extract, transform and load. That's bringing data in from multiple sources. You're able to do that. You're able to unlock the potential of all the tool sets that you're going to be taught and create these brilliant dashboards that I talked about that they created in model. I know Dorset created a fabulous dashboard, for example, NHS Dorset. I think it was University Hospital Dorset created a dashboard during COVID that told them everything that was going on, that enabled them to see the critical pinch points that was happening at any point. And it brings your data insights to life, as I've mentioned earlier. You're going to master data analytics, development skills, and including forecasting and all those statistical analysis tools. You're going to create your own data solutions, writing the code from the ground up using Python. Okay, you're going to look at big data and cloud and what does that mean and how do I use it effectively in where we are in Somerset. And you're going to learn all about artificial intelligence, a little bit about artificial intelligence, also about machine learning, all about the predictive analysis, and your models start to develop their own cognizance and understand and predict the future. Then you're going to look. I've already mentioned unstructured data, and I've already mentioned at the end you're going to run projects. Every data project you work on is going to be that much more effective. It's going to be within budget, within quality deliverables that are required, and within the time frame as well. So really set of amazing skills that you're going to develop and really professionalize you in your workplace. So here you see the structure of the program. It's got 10 modules. These are the academic modules along the top. This is your core learning, where they break down all the material I've already showed you is broken down into each one of these modules. You also have personal development, where you have professional practice and professional development. I'll talk about that in a minute. And you have endpoint assessment, where this, as I said earlier, you get assessed. So that's the way it's distributed over the 36 months. 30 months of learning and then 6 months of your endpoint assessment. And along the bottom, I've added some icons just to give you a steer on some of the technologies that you'll be getting exposed to or similar. So when you receive the deck, you can have a good read of all of the modules, what's enclosed within each one. Professional practice, however, I'll just touch on that. You're building a data science portfolio, don't forget. So you're going to showcase your skills. And I've mentioned already about impact analysis reports. And that's where you show how your project's having real impact. That's going to really add some interesting color and depth to your portfolio of evidence. Okay, so that's the professional practice where you are putting into practice everything you've learned. There's the theory. Now let's see the practice. And then I've continued here with all the various modules, what's expected. At the bottom, you can see on each one, what's the expected impact from all of that, okay? So finally, professional development is the other one I mentioned earlier that I wanted to touch on. This is where you're assessing the goals of your organization and building solutions that have a direct impact, really putting your skills into practice, okay? Again, as I say, this apprenticeship is very practical focused. Big data I've mentioned, AI and deep learning I've mentioned, and finally your endpoint assessment, and then you graduate from the program. But you have your portfolio, and they give you an interview and so on, and give you a scenario where you can have practical application. Normally I would say any questions, but you have my email, simoneaston@bpp.com. So let me tell you quickly about the level 7. The level 7 is an MSc, is a higher level. And it's for anyone who wants to gain more of a strategic understanding. So you've got the data science skills you're picking up here as well, but you're also looking at the business from a much more holistic standpoint. You're looking at the wider implications of data analysis, and you're applying them to the organization that you work in and the surrounding organizations and departments. Okay, I'm all about driving business growth and productivity, particularly in the NHS. Productivity is key. So you'll recognize some of those job titles, but again, NHS, you have different job titles, so don't get overly hung up on that. Okay, you're going to learn the technical data analytics skills, some of which are not are parallel to the data science degree. Okay, you're going to learn about applying analytics to business problems, though you're looking at the more leadership aspects of how you can take that data and transform the business because of your understanding of both the business and the data science. Okay, so you're going to, as it says here, a journey from learning principles of data analytics in Python to creating machine learning algorithms and solving problems. But at the same time, you're going to acquire skills in leadership and management, digital change management, enterprise data architecture. You're looking at a much wider breadth of the organization in terms of where's the data, what am I looking at here, how can we impact the whole organization from a leadership perspective. Okay, your training, I'm just conscious of time, sorry for rattling through. This training is going to help professionals become more valuable to organizations by equipping them with technical and business skills. So you get the MSc, which is a fabulous qualification, no student debt either, just to reiterate, as your colleague at Chelsea and Westminster once said, he's won the lottery. And you've got this amazing qualification where you get the data science and the leadership skills. You analyze data, you communicate to stakeholders, and you understand the impact across the whole business. Okay. You'll develop leadership and management skills, as I've already said, and essential for managing data teams. So you're going to be more of a leader of the data scientific community within your trust. Key program, it's a master's. It's 20 plus 4 months, so 20 months learning, 4 months EPA. The 3 January, May, and September, I think they run, and they're all online. Just as with data science, I won't repeat all of that. It's delivered online, and it's delivered little and often with the same concept of delivering weekly sessions where you learn about the material, then you put it into practice, and you still have the same coaching model every 6 weeks. Okay. It's 6 hours a week as minimum because of the ESFA guidelines, but you are going to have to do additional work. There's no doubt about it. This is an MSc. It's a advanced qualification, and as with the BSc, you're going to have to do work in your own time as well. But that's just to give you a heads up. But a lot of it you're going to be learning, you're going to be putting into practice in your day job, and that's 6 hours a week is what you track. Slightly more stringent in terms of getting onto the program. You've got to have Maths and English GCSE, which might surprise you if you've already got a degree. But if you've got to have the Maths and English GCSE or equivalent, that's all apprenticeships need that. That's an ESFA requirement. But you've also got to be employed in the role that I mentioned earlier. Again, you've got to be in the right role, and you've got to have a minimum of 2 honours degree in a related subject, or you can have a 2-1 in a non-related subject, okay? Or if you don't have that, we will talk to you if you think you've got enough advanced knowledge and skills. We don't want to set you up to fail, so we will check again, just to reiterate, right learner, right job role, right program. We've got to make sure you're on the right program. We've got to make sure you're in the right job role. We don't want to set you up to fail, okay? And again, funded by the levy. So here's the structure. Same as with the data scientist, it's broken down into these modules I said earlier, and you have this rather large data analytics project sitting here, which is tough. I know people that have done this program and it's difficult, but also very rewarding and incredibly exciting to see the impact it can have on your organization, because it's a real world. It's not in some sandbox. You're developing and you're creating a data analytics project for the trust that you're working in, and Somerset's going to reap the benefits of that, okay? And it's really exciting that you have the opportunity to do that, but it's hard work. There's no two ways about it. And along the duration of the program, leading and managing digital change, that's the leadership elements and understanding the more holistic impact of the modules you're learning above, okay? Then you have your endpoint assessment. When you get the deck, you'll be able to have a good read of what's the expected outcome for each one of the modules. Leading, managing digital change supports the learners in workplace reflection, helping them gather evidence that shows how learning has been put into practice. Okay, this is all about you getting ready for endpoint assessment, but also the leadership and business holistic understanding elements of it is alongside the bottom of the whole. As you can see, just to remind you, alongside the underneath of all the other modules in parallel, you'll be understanding the implications and how you can apply that to your business. Then there's the enabling automation and machine learning and AI, and then the continuation of that, obviously that runs parallel. Finally, you have to do the big project. You have to design and deliver a data analytics project that solves a business problem and contributes towards wider academic research. So what that means is you can't just copy someone else's project and implement it where you are. You have to create a brand new concept, and you're given information on that. You're given a steer on that, and your coach will help you as well to devise something. And at the beginning of the program, you'll have an induction, and they'll tell you what to expect, and they'll tell you. They'll give you a roadmap and they'll help you through every phase and every stage, okay? My recommendation, just to reiterate, go to every live session, because that's where you can ask questions. They're all recorded, but go to the live sessions if you can. Leading and managing digital change obviously continues alongside that. Then you have your endpoint assessment, where they look at your portfolio. You've been creating that throughout the duration, as you did with the data science, but you've also got your project and an overview of your project, and they assess that as well, and they look at that and give you a grade. Any questions about that? Simon Easton at bpp.com. So how's the program delivered? I've told you it's all delivered online. I'm going to rattle through this because I know we're running short of time. We have a Adobe Connect virtual learning environment. All the learning material is there. It's a fabulous program. We've been using it for 10 years, and all of our tutors have been trained in how to deliver online programs to make it as interactive as possible. 2 to 3 hours max is a learning time. You have to be online for a webinar, but everything is recorded. And we also have ways of tracking and assessing, seeing how learners are progressing, how often they're online, how often they attend live sessions. That is not to catch people out, it's to help you be as success. If we spot someone who appears to be falling slightly behind, when you meet with your coach, the coach might say, I see you've missed a couple of sessions. Is everything okay? Everyone on the program is there for you and are there to help you be successful. Okay, so we all want you to come out the other end with a master's or a Bachelor of Science or a master's qualification. So we really want to make sure you're making good use of your time and energy. Everything's delivered online, as I said. I won't dwell on this too much. There's the LinkedIn Learning I mentioned earlier. Oftentimes during there'll be a particular session and the coach will say, oh, by the way, the tutor will say there's a really great session on LinkedIn Learning and here's a link, and they'll steer you off to something where you can learn some additional material around that as well to become a specialist. There's a coding club, so you can share knowledge with experienced people that are coding all the time as well. And we have masterclass events, as I mentioned earlier, where you're basically learning from a subject matter expert about a particular area, and they're adding new ones all the time, as I've just dotted in there. So if there's anything you particularly want to see and you don't see it on that list, ask for it. And if we can get a subject matter expert in, we'll give you a session. These are every month, an hour, maybe 2 hours max, where you sit down and learn about aspects of some area of technology and data. And it's a really valuable asset. It's an additional on top of the standard. It's just to help you become wider, have a wider knowledge and broader in your understanding and better quality, give you more options in your career as well, really. But as you can see, we've already got artificial intelligence included, but we're adding new areas as they come on the horizon, and just ask if you don't see what you want. Talked about the development time. In particular, either of these two programs, there's an awful lot of there's opportunities to implement in your day job the new skills and knowledge that you're learning. Where you implement projects, you're putting into practice new coding, new skills that you've developed. And so it's not like you disappear and say bye everyone. It's really you tracking where you've implemented your new skills, and you can demonstrate that. Okay, final suite of slides now. I mentioned earlier, if you don't have maths and English, there's something called functional skills. Now, I would say make sure you speak to your apprentice lead, and make sure you speak to your line manager as well. Typically, most trusts say to us, we need people to have functional skills ticked off before they start the apprenticeship. Not a problem, because as you saw, these programs run every few months. And so it's not like it's an annual event. But also, just because you want to make sure you've got sufficient maths that you can deliver, that you're focused on the program content itself, rather than worrying about maths and English. Okay, we sometimes get people that get stuck with the maths part for a little while. Not a problem. We have a team of people that were there to help you get through functional skills. So then what happens is, if you're interested in knowing more, or you've already seen enough and you think this is the way you'd like to go, and you meet the criteria, you have internal sign-off. You speak to your line manager, you speak to your line manager, an apprentice lead. You get internal approval. There'll be an internal documentation process where you confirm your job role. Your line manager confirms commitment to giving you the 6 hours a week, and then your apprentice lead gives you sign-off. I will send you an application link. You log on, you apply online by the deadline, upload all your certificates, answer any questions that are asked of you, and then your line manager is asked to approve. Then you're completed. When that's happened, you're sent a schedule. You know when the program starts, and you'll be given an induction where you sit down for the first day of learning, and you learn all about the program, what's expected of you, where the tools are, how do you log into the hub, all of those wonderful things that mean you're now rocking and rolling and ready to get your head into the learning material. Then you have a welcome call with your coach, who'll be your coach every 6 weeks throughout the duration of the program, as I mentioned. Final slide. Data scientist starts on the 29th of May, and the deadline is the 17th of April. And as you can see, the MSc Applied Data Analytics, the level 7, that starts a day later. So the application deadline is a day later. So if you want to apply, you need to get your application in by the middle of April at the very latest. Otherwise, you won't be able to apply until the next start, because they close the window, basically. I hope that's been useful. Do not hesitate to contact me. There's my email address, simoneaston@bpp.com. And I'll be delighted to hear from you. And I will share the slide deck with Toby. He will share it with you all. And anyone who's interested, please don't hesitate to come to me and ask for any questions you might have. So thank you, Toby. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and I hope it's been useful. Bye for now.